Ladies and gentlemen, in this video we're going to be comparing the most interesting, dare I say, the most important Toyota of the last even decade, I would go. And that's because we have a direct comparison between two very interesting cars. I know what you're thinking. It's not the Toyota Supra. It's right here. It's the Toyota RAV4, but this one is special because this is the most buzzworthy new Toyota out there. It's the RAV4 Prime, which means it's a plug-in hybrid. Yep, it can go on electricity only, and that's why we have it next to this, the Tesla Model Y, which at least price-wise is a direct competitor. All right, not this one, this is the Performance, but if you had the regular Y. And Tommy, let's talk numbers. You seem to be deep in thought.
I'm very skeptical here because I was a little on the fence of doing this video. Basically what we have is a luxury vehicle.
Yep.
We're comparing it to a Toyota.
Yep.
This one has a gasoline engine.
Yep.
We're comparing it to an EV.
This one has a motor and an engine.
That's true. But here's why I was skeptical, because price-wise I thought no way in heck would they even come close to competing until I started configuring them.
Yep.
This one, as you see at the Toyota, almost 50 grand. The Model Y starts at almost 50 grand. Still kind of on the fence about doing this video, and then I read the comments and we had like 100 people that wanted us to compare them. So that's what we're doing today. Should you buy the fully electric Model Y or the RAV4 Prime? Now I'll get to the numbers.
Okay.
Let's talk about them really quick. This is a Performance Y, so this is a little bit skewed.
Yep.
63 grand for this one, but they start at under 50. The Toyota is the RAV4 Prime XSE, has an MSRP of $49,600. So price-wise, they can compete. Now let's talk about performance. It's an important one.
Yeah, performance-wise, they don't compete because let's start with range. So what's the range on the Toyota with the gasoline and electric motor?
The EPA says, get this, 600 miles.
Now, how about on the Tesla Model Y?
Well, with the small wheels, it's about 316.
Yep.
This one is about 291. So we're talking half the range on the Y.
Yeah, so at least range-wise, they don't compete. How about all electricity-wise? How far will this one go using just electricity? In other words, what's the battery size?
Yeah. So the Toyota's rated at 42 miles according to the EPA of full electric operation before it kicks on the gasoline engine.
Yep.
And then when it kicks on the gasoline engine, that's how you get to 600 miles, right? When you combine the electric and the gasoline. This one, like I said, about 291 efficiency-wise, so get this. So the Tesla's rated, this one with the big wheels, 111 mpg equivalent.
Yep.
This one on electricity, 94. So a lot less efficient. So you're probably thinking, well, the Tesla's better. But for a lot of people, the Toyota might be the better purchase. Now let's kind of dive into the Toyota a little bit, right?
Yeah, before I let you do that, let me kind of talk about how they're also very similar before you think we're completely crazy. They are both crossovers. In other words, they both have a lot of space. They're both tall cars. They are both all-wheel drive, so they're similar in that regard.
They're both red.
They're both red. They both cost about the same. And here's one that's actually also true. They're both really kind of tricky to get. The Model Y for a long time was almost impossible to get, and Toyota so far is only committed to building 5,000.
That's insane.
Of the Primes, and so unless you already have your name down for one for this year, you're not going to get one.
All right, let me show you under the hood. So this looks like a pretty standard RAV4, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine. But when you make this gasoline engine with several electric motors, that's where you get the RAV4 Prime's party trick, because come back here to the rear of the vehicle. I just can't believe this. This RAV4, 0 to 60 in the 6-second range, horsepower 302. 302 horsepower to RAV4, and that's because of this baby right here. Now this is the plug, and the way a plug-in hybrid works is you can charge this puppy up at night, wake up in the morning with 42 miles of full electric range, or you never have to drive it, you never have to plug it in at all and just drive it around like a normal hybrid. And when you drive it around as a normal hybrid, Toyota will tell you that it will still do 0 to 60 in that same 6-second range, because the car is smart enough to always keep a reserve in the battery and then fill back up to that reserve if you start to drain it. So it's a pretty versatile platform. And the other cool thing is, like we said, if you don't want to plug it in at all, just come over here. Well, I gotta pop it. where does Toyota put their fuel? Here we go. Damn, check this out. Good old-fashioned dino juice can go in that puppy, and then you're looking at just a normal car you can drive. Now, charging is an interesting story with the RAV4 Prime, right? So, no fast charging.
Nope.
Which means that it'll take a while to charge. Now, the standard RAV4 Prime has about a 3.3 kilowatt onboard charger. It's very slow. Even at 240 volts, that's going to take you 6 some hours, right?
Yeah,
to charge?
it depends. You know how. So I drove it all weekend, and I just plugged it into the regular wall outlet after I completely depleted the battery.
Yeah.
Guess how long?
Like 12 hours.
12 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one is the XSE. It's the top trim, so this one has a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger, which will charge the 18 kilowatt hour battery in like
2 hours.
3 hours,
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's better. Should we hop inside and show the interior?
Yeah. Why don't you hop inside and show them the interior? Ian, why don't you come on this side?
And now close the hood, would you?
Yeah, I'll close it for you. Hop in and show them the interior because it is interesting.
It is interesting. First of all, sticker-wise, right? Oh man, everything's falling out. Here's a sticker. $49,461. So almost 50 grand for a RAV4 seems like a lot until you look at the amount of tech that you get in here. So not only do you have this large touchscreen display that is prominently featured in the center of the dash here, you of course have Apple CarPlay, you've got navigation. By the way, the Tesla doesn't have Apple CarPlay. Bluetooth connectivity, a volume knob, another thing that Tesla doesn't have. A tune knob.
The steering wheel, it has it.
No, the steering wheel, it doesn't, not even count in the steering wheel. Volume and tune knobs, the RAV4 has, the Tesla doesn't. The RAV4 also has knobs for the climate control. What a concept. I can go and select the climate control just by not even looking at it. I love the knobs in this. And this also has heated and ventilated seats. The Tesla does not have ventilated seats. The Tesla also doesn't have a heated steering wheel. This has a heated steering wheel. Drive modes as well, Eco, Sport, Normal, and Trail. And then we get to the kind of the confusing part, which are these buttons. I don't think Toyota has executed this very well, but look at these hieroglyphics. You've got Auto EV/HV, EV, HV, charge hold. The car tells you when it's an EV. It tells you when it's an EV mode, which, believe it or not, is 2 separate displays on here because you can be an EV but be in hybrid vehicle mode. It's just kind of a mess. I just need a button that says EV and a button that says hybrid, and that would be enough for my liking. The Auto EV HV thing, it makes sense to me. I could spend the rest of my life explaining it to you, but for non-car people, just an EV HV button would be better. HV for hybrid vehicle. Seats, leather upholstery, very comfortable. Very comfortable seats, super usable. I also like the leather across the dash. So if you get past the Toyota badge here, it's basically a Lexus. Panoramic sunroof. Check this out, Ian. Open that baby up. Look at that, 2 panes of glass. And the other thing too is everything so well made. All the materials are just tight as a drum. All the switch gear is beautifully crafted. Exterior panels. The gaps are more consistent than I could ever have imagined. This, of course, also has Toyota Safety Sense 2.0. So it's got adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. It's got paddle shifters. By the way, the Tesla doesn't have paddle shifters. And wireless charging here as well. Dual cup holders. And the rear seat is also very, very usable. Dad, can you please open that door? So, check this out. This is my driving position at 6 foot 1 inch tall. I've got enough legroom, even with the sunroof, a lot of headroom. I've got a couple different USBs back here, air vents in the rear, in the trunk. Power liftgate, right? And the other great thing about this, check this out. Nice tall roofline. So unlike the Tesla, this doesn't slope down in the rear and compromise either headroom or storage capacity. This is nice and tall. 1500 watt outlet back here, AC 120 volts. This is the supplied charge connector. This is a J1772 plug. There is no fast charging available on the Toyota RAV4 Prime currently. So if you want to get this thing charged in half an hour like you could on a kind of a traditional EV where you can go 0 to 80% in 30 minutes, you can't do it on the RAV4, but you don't have to because it has a gasoline engine to fill in the gaps when you are out of electric battery supply. This is a brilliant car. It really is. It's so quick. It handles well. It holds a lot of stuff. And now my dad's going to tell you why the Model Y might be a better or perhaps worse choice.
All right, I'm going to agree with Tommy on 2 points, okay? The first point is very simple, and that is the Toyota is built so much better. If you look over here, you can see just how crazy misaligned this tailgate is. I mean, I suspect that if a Toyota engineer were to see that, he would fall or she would fall dead on the spot, because that is something that no Toyota would ever do. The other issue we've had with this car, of course, is reliability. We bought it, and about 2 weeks after owning it, we've owned it for about 3 months now, this door lock stopped working. So in other words, I could not get...
Whoa. Not even the door lock. The actuator. Like you couldn't open or close the door. Yeah, it was like permanently closed.
From the front. And this is where things get a little bit more complicated, because if that had happened on the Toyota, which I don't think it would happen, but let's say it happened on the Toyota.
It can't. It's got mechanical door handles. Look at that. Look at that action.
Just for the sake of argument, let's say that that had happened. You would have had to take it into your Toyota dealership, and they would have had to fix it. With Tesla, actually I didn't even call up. I used my phone to schedule a mobile service. A guy in a Tesla showed up and replaced the actuator that opens the door here in this very space in this parking lot. Drove away and the vehicle was fixed.
And it only took 4 weeks.
Well, it took 2 visits.
Yes.
Because first he realigned the door, and then the next day it stopped working again, and then he had another appointment to have actually a new actuator.
That would never have happened on the RAV4.
Like I say,
never.
A RAV4 engineer would probably drop dead on the spot, just, you know.
So one thing I do like about this, right?
Yeah.
There's no traditional key, right? As long as you have your phone Bluetooth on and you have the app paired, you can get in and unlock it. So the RAV4 still uses a key, and you can hold, you know, a function to turn on the AC during the hot months, but it's not as nice as just using the phone.
All right, so I'll agree with you there, right? But let's look at the differences, all right? First and foremost, this vehicle will do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds.
Yeah, but you got to compare this RAV4 to the cheap Model Y.
Twice as quick.
No, because the cheap...
4.4.
Yeah,
right.
4.5-ish, yeah.
Yeah, still 2 seconds quicker, all right? So, you know, that's where the similarities end. I know you were going on about how great you have a 2-roof panel sunroof. Well, look at the sunroof in there. The whole roof is a freaking sunroof.
But glass roof,
yeah,
can't open it. In the RAV4, you can open the front half.
Nor would I actually want to open it.
Why not?
Because they're loud, and it's unnecessary, because look at the interior. Look how scrumptious that interior looks.
It is very cool.
Yeah, look. I mean, this is the definition of modern, right? And yes, I do have a volume. It's right there, knob. It does work, and I have a massive screen, and that's also where the similarities end, because this car just provides you with a wealth of information. You want to go through that screen, you're better at it than I am. Why don't you go through the screen, and I'll open up the passenger door, and you show them all the info it provides you in terms of how it's using energy. So come on this way, Ian. And by the way, before you do that, I got plenty of backseat room. Look at this. That's my driving position, so I'm going to sit down where I drive, and look, tons of headroom, you know, tons of leg room.
Tons is bold, Dad.
Headroom, legroom not so much, but there's plenty of room back here. You know, and with this being a Model Y, basically think of it as a either tall or pregnant Model 3. And I've got an electric tailgate. I have more room, I think, in the back than Tommy's RAV4. It's just enormous. So, you know, room-wise and utility-wise, you know, I think this one actually takes the cake. But here's another place where they're very different. So, Tommy, why don't you go over the infotainment and all the things that this vehicle will tell you.
First of all, I do agree with you that the interior design is beautiful. It is very, very cool, very art museum-like in here. Piano black everywhere, which just gets covered in fingerprints. Ooh, I can just feel the commenters getting grumpy. Look at those fingerprints, and also scratches as well. But when it's clean, it looks really nice. And then, of course, the center of the vehicle is dominated by this massive screen, and this has every control in it. So climate controls, for example, are right down here. Even the air vents. I mean, you don't even get to choose where the air flows. You have to do it all digitally here. It's very cool. Like, it's very easy to... I shouldn't say it's easy to use. It's very fun to use. But when you're on the road, you know, focusing on driving, you know, adjusting air like this can be, in some cases, a little bit sketchy. Now, my dad is very proud of the energy displays in here, and there are pretty good energy displays. You can see what's going on over various time ranges from 5 to 30 miles. You can see instant range, average range. The Toyota does have systems in the center screen where you can monitor, you know, power inputs and outputs, but it's nowhere near as effective as the Tesla screen, so I do agree with that. One thing you do have to get used to in the Model Y is you don't have a gauge cluster in front of you. You have to glance over a little bit, and your speed is displayed up here where it says P. But the amount of technology in this is really mind-blowing. I mean, not only do you have some of the best navigation in the business, you also have internet connectivity. You also have a full suite of applications. If you're charging, for example, I can boot up Netflix or YouTube or Hulu. I can watch stuff as I'm waiting at the supercharger. I can also stream music through Spotify right on this display here. No Apple CarPlay, so Tesla doesn't work with Apple in that same way. No physical knobs for adjusting volumes or tuning. You have to go to the steering wheel, but for a passenger, obviously not going to reach the steering wheel. Infotainment-wise, I do agree with my dad. I like the Tesla a little bit more. I think it's more fun to use. But every day, that Toyota is easier to get used to, especially if you've just driven, you know, gasoline cars your whole life. Now, I'm not so sure I agree with storage capacity between the two. I think the RAV4 might be more useful in the trunk.
How much room do you have in the front?
Yeah, let's show them that. Check this out.
Yeah, because I'm not, or this Tesla isn't carrying around an extra engine.
Yeah,
It
look
has
at that.
a lot more utility.
That is pretty cool. That is very cool. I agree with you on that. Towing capacity, I think I have to look at the numbers.
3.5, 3,000 actually.
3,000 on the Y.
Yeah.
I think the RAV4 Prime is 5.
It could be.
I have to double check on
that
that number.
seems too much.
It might be lower, but I think it's 4
It might
or
be
5.
very similar. If you guys know, let us know in the comments below. So look, here's the bottom line. Tesla is a technology company learning how to be a car company. I think Toyota is a car company learning how to be a technology company.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you look at the displays, you look at the technology in both, right? And that's kind of Sonic the Hedgehog, right? We're into that level of technology, right?
Are you talking like 90s Sega Sonic?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is, you know, pick the latest and greatest computer game of, you know, let's call this, I don't know, what's the latest greatest game?
You were talking to the
Angry
wrong
Birds?
person. Oh my goodness,
You
Dad.
know, it's old.
What's that, what's that game I used to play that was super high graphic?
Anyway, and the cool thing is that Toyota is learning how to be a technology company, and finally, for the first time, they've actually embraced, I think, not just hybrid, because this, you know, they kind of invented the hybrid synergy drive,
Yeah.
but they've actually embraced true electrification, and you can see the potential in what Toyota is doing with the RAV4, and if they bring that to a bigger audience with bigger batteries, then Tesla's going to have some, you know, looking over its shoulder it has to do. Right now, Tesla, of course, you know, is both in the forefront in terms of its kind of reputation and its technology. But with the RAV4 Prime, Toyota has fired a very serious shot across Tesla's bow.
I think it's a different audience. If you're a Tesla guy, you're not going to look at a Toyota RAV4 Prime.
I think you might.
Tesla people, Dad?
You know, you could drive that thing on electricity all day long. I did, basically. You could drive it to work and back, and if you run out of juice, you know, the engine kicks on for a little bit, and then you come home, you charge it up, and drive it all electric again.
But an Elon Musketeer is not going to go in and buy a Toyota. But I think if you're a normal person looking to get into the world of electrification, this is a better option in so many ways, and I think you'll quickly find with 42 miles of range, you're never going to get into the gas engine on an everyday basis. I mean, some people might, but I think the average person commuting, like even you did during the week with this car, we very rarely ever touch the gas engine.
Yeah, but I did drive it up to the mountains, and, you know, I quickly ran out of range.
And then you had another 540 miles to drive on gasoline only.
And then, of course, you know, there's the fact that this is, you know, much more performance oriented, and that is much more off-road. If I wanted to go off-road, I would take that. And by the way, you just did a video for TFL Off-Road where you took it up Tombstone Hill, so go over to TFL Off-Road when, you know, you're feeling off-roady and check out that video.
Yeah.
So if it were your money, I'm gonna give both of them a buy it.
Yeah, we're both biased.
On the TFL scale, Lisa.
You got to compare.
Buy at least
You got to compare base model
Yeah, I know, base
Y
model, yeah.
to this RAV4.
It's a tough decision, Tommy.
I would go. I think Toyota. I really do think this is something special. It's so quick. Not that quick, but better made. I think easier to use every day with knobs and buttons. But I just can't wait to see what happens when Toyota finally does a full electric, because if this is anything to suggest what it'll be like, it's gonna be amazing. How about you?
You know, since you can't buy the Toyota, it's only $5,000, I'm gonna go with the Tesla. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but it's true. And by the way, guys, if you like our t-shirts and you want to support the team, click on the link below and get yourself some. As always, this is Roman.
Yep, and Tommy, check out tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in new car and new electric reviews.
See you guys next time. Ciao.